Hello there, and welcome to the channel. Yep, it's Friday, and I'm to tell an anomaly on a Friday. This one has some special caveats with it, and I hope that those who do hear it or watch it are tolerant of my unique perspective on some of these things. I want to start out by saying a couple of things that might surprise people. Maybe not, maybe so. I'm a Christian and I'm a liberal. Okay? That means that there are people out there saying things that I think are repugnant and grotesque, but I don't hate those people. I hate their message, and sometimes I hate the way they deliver it, and sometimes I hate things people do. But the people themselves I love, because that's what I'm supposed to do. I do not hate people. I hate reprehensible, repugnant, and foolish things and behaviors, but people I love. And for those out there who have decided that with liberals it's kill or be killed, know right now I will never take up arms against you. I'm a liberal, I'm a Christian, and I will never do something violent to a fellow human being. Okay? Now, why do I feel so compelled to say this? Well, partly it's our present unbelievable atmosphere of politics, but it's also because of the anomaly I'm about to tell you. The last year I lived in Deming, I was working as a teaching assistant at New Mexico State University in the English department. I was getting my master's, and the summer before I started doing that, one of the members of the church there in Deming approached me to teach the high school class in the church, the high school Sunday school class. And I said, sure, I'd love to. Now, there were two classes of high school students, and there was a director of the department. It's pretty common in Sunday schools that there's, plenty of people, I guess. Anyway, it was a good-sized group of teenagers that were part of the church at that time. And the women that asked me to teach, I think, at first it was just, she can do it because there's too many for us to teach. We can get her to do it. Fine. But the minute the classes began, I think they began to not like me. The teacher of the other group of students didn't like me because her students were starting to make noises like they wanted to go over to my class because they'd heard that my class was more fun and more interesting. It's one of the problems of teaching, and perhaps I'll talk about it. Maybe I really should, this whole issue of teacher popularity. But the director of the department, this woman who originally kind of directed both of us as teachers, was a sort of a snaky person. Now, I love her, but she was snaky. And she and this other woman were buddies. And so when this other woman, this is the way I think it went down. Somehow or another, this other woman complained to the director, and they concocted a way to sort of try to get me under their thumb and to make me more submissive to them and more diminished in the students' eyes, because it was fairly obvious that the students all thought of me as the big dog. The minute I started teaching, they all paid attention to me. Even when it wasn't my moment to have the floor, they were watching me. Okay. So one Sunday morning I came in, and before the regular classes they would have this little group get together, and we'd sing a couple of hymns and say a prayer and then break up into our smaller groups and do our classes. And these women, when I walked in one Sunday, handed me a little paper, and they said, we want you to play Mary Magdalene and read this to the kids. They didn't ask me would I be kind enough to read Mary Magdalene. They didn't suggest that I had missed a meeting or something and therefore I had to read Mary Magdalene. They just told me in front of the kids that they wanted me to do it. Now, when I was younger, I had rage. I still have it. There's not as much of it. I'm getting older. Things are mellowing. But when I was young, I had rage. And it was always simmering in me. And I have a feeling, my grandma McCollaum used to call it letting the McCollaum come out. Now, she was not a McCollaum by blood. She was a McCollaum by marriage. And so she was a Green by blood. And the Greens were sort of famously the descendants of an important Baptist missionary to the Southwest. Anyway, she always thought of herself as kind of morally superior to the McCollaum folk. And so whenever she saw us be kind of mean or dangerous or seemingly dangerous, she said, you let the McCollaum come out. This is partly because the McCollums really did have this dangerous ethos. I don't know what it is. I know my dad had it. He was the sweetest, kindest man in the world, but if he looked at you a certain way, it terrified you. He was very physically strong, and he had this sense, this almost preternatural sense of your vulnerabilities. And that's a thing that lots of McCollums have. When they look at you, they kind of know where your soft underbelly is, and they represent a threat to it. So that said, I'm a McCollum, and these women handed me this sheet to try to make me more humble in their presence. They didn't discuss it with me, they just made me, and they did it in front of the kids, and that made me mad. So I said yes, and I sat down and I looked at those two women the way my dad looked at me when he was angry at me. And I know the kids were noticing it. Hard not to notice. Their little human drama sensors were peaked. Just like kitties, you know how kitties will turn their ears, or animals will turn their ears. Man, all the ears were like this. So I read it silently to myself, this little dramatic passage, this little dramatic monologue. And then when they gave me the floor, I did the monologue. But see, the thing they didn't anticipate was I had had quite a lot of training in acting. And so when I was given this opportunity to take the floor, I took that thing. I took that monologue and I gave it everything I had in the way of surprising interpretation. I was excited to do this. By the time I got up, I nailed it. And I nailed it so that they would be absolutely shocked at the way I decided to deliver this woman. And then we all broke up and went to class. But what had been intended as a way to humble me made me own that room. Now, I didn't know that at the end of this year, that year that I taught that Sunday school class, that I would be leaving and moving to Roswell. I didn't know that. And neither did those women. But from that moment on, those students were so completely on my side, they could have not come up with a way to blast me out of that spot. The only way I was leaving was if I actually left town, which I did. The students gave me an award that they came up with on their own when I left. A plaque that said that they appreciated me. these other teachers didn't even know that they had decided to do it. They did it on their own, which is the highest possible compliment any group of kids could ever give a teacher. We live in a world where people are trying to assert their will and their view of the world over those of others. We need to resist the urge to hate people. Hate is poison. We can hate the deeds they do, hate murder, hate mayhem, hate corruption, hate war. But we must never hate people. We must respect the sacred thing that is a person. And we must be prepared to hope and pray for all our redemption from the things that we do we should not. I hope you have a glorious rest of the day. And I hope you are willing to see me again, you gorgeous people.